Human Relations Commission meeting. We're waiting on quorum, but in the meanwhile, we're going to move to, I think basically we can hear the financial update and maybe some report outs of new business.
You have a copy of it in your package, and if you have any questions, it's really not that sexy at all, since it just started.
Okay. Then I'm fine to go into new business. And we can call the meeting to official start when someone else shows up. I think that this is the priority work areas conversation that's been sort of fleshed out and formalized a little bit more since the last meeting. So Ashley, do you want to talk us through it? So if y'all remember, Ashley walked us through this last meeting. So there are no surprises here. We already knew there it is. Hi, Marcus. We're also very happy to see you. Okay, great. Then I'm going to call a meeting to order. And I confirm that there is now a quorum. So the first thing is that we'd like to just quickly review and approve the minutes. So if you haven't taken a glance at the minutes, please do. If you have any questions. The date does say May 1st. Thank you, Ben. Ben's always got the edits. We did May 1st at the last meeting, I believe. Unless these just are the wrong printed ones, maybe. The ones that have been printed here say May 1st on them. And the address. It looks like the May meeting was the one that was here. So I don't know if we were supposed to have, I think we're supposed to have the August minutes here.
I don't think the date has been changed.
Okay, these are the August minutes.
These are the August from what's on the
Town hall pass, executive nominations, yes. Oh, that's all updated. Okay, so then just the address and the date at the top. 5:30. And there you can see that Ashley presented a draft of this plan that we're going to talk about a little bit more today. And that's all. So do we need to bring these to the next meeting, or can we say per those three changes, we will approve? Yes. Gemma. Where is it? Oh,
I'm not being, just in case y'all mark me absent. Yeah.
Great. Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Oh. Then no one against and no one abstaining. This so moves. The minutes have been approved. So yeah, just to follow up and get those done. Next thing, we went through basically financial update. Nothing's changed. I see 2 rows of money spent and nothing else. So since we're at the beginning, so no questions there for me. We will move to really quickly. So this is being called the new administration engagement plan because, it's a strategic plan, but it's also the way to engage whoever comes in. Like, these are the things that the commission wants to focus on and is focusing on. So staff has come together with the executive committee to pull this together and to really flesh it out. But it's clearly very important that the commission is behind this and feels that it represents what we're about in the next 2 years or in the next year and a half. So if everybody could take a look, we can, if you need more time to review it, we can, but I think it would be great to approve this so that hopefully starting next month, there will be meetings set up to engage our new mayor on these areas. Any questions, Mr. Irwin?
Well, I'm looking.
He didn't have a question. I just it's this colorful thing. Yeah, that.
We already looked
Priority work areas. I don't know if you wanted to speak at all to the Title VI stuff or not really. Nothing to report. Okay.
I would say the last page, I did my best effort to describe roles to list with all the commission members. And so to keep the report brief, it's 10 pages right now. We decided not to include full bios. But what we plan to do is to update our website. So we do still want that information from y'all if you haven't sent it to Crystal yet. And please feel free to either today or over email if you want sort of your name and profession described differently, just tell me what to write there.
And if you have any questions as they come up, it'd be good if you ask them as they come up.
Hi. I just was going to see, are we able to approve this so that we can proceed forward with the final draft, as you said, to be able to be presented to our new mayor?
I believe this is the final draft.
So I can do a motion to approve this.
If there are no questions, I had
I
one.
should give more time.
No, it's fine. We can go really quickly. I just had one question. The Title VI coordinators in metro departments, how many are there?
There's primarily somebody is designated
In every.
in almost every department is one.
Okay.
But that may also be the receptionist in some places.
And then do we have to do training for that person?
Well, they're all supposed to take training. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And do we have those training materials, or do we have to build that out?
At the Lens Public Health Department. We have a upcoming Title VI training in November. Tentative date of the 15th, November 16th. And that'll be at the Metro Public Health Department. We'll be inviting Title VI coordinators throughout Metro departments to attend.
Okay, great. So that could be over 20 people or so.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Carlinda.
Is that attendance required? Are they required to attend?
So they are required to attend at least one annual training throughout Metro. So some of the trainings within Metro, I've not seen any other training, Title VI training, but some of these same coordinators have also been through the state's training. Okay. So as long as they attend one or the other, that'll meet their requirements.
Thank you.
It's open
It's
to
open
the
to the public. You can join. And then you might not have this thought out yet, but what about these community-based and non-NGO trainings?
I've not reached that part just yet in the what I've proposed and the materials that I've worked on so far, because the priority has been within Metro. So that'll be the next steps. Yeah. Okay.
One of the things that RJ and I will be touching base on is some Title VI education for community members, just about like what is Title VI. And so I'll be touching base with him to kind of put things together as we have more events over the next couple months so we can kind of trial run what makes most sense to people and what education materials we can start putting out.
Is this something people have asked for as well? Like community organizations?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, it's something that we're focusing in on as part of our strategic plan. But definitely, language access is a big part of the LAP requirement for limited English proficiency, part of Title VI. So we'll be discussing language access and some of those updates once Ashley presents those today. Yeah. We've also been working on language access within Metro and just recently sent out a survey to several Metro departments that we've identified as potential collaborators for a grant that we have received or are collaborating with the Tennessee Language Center. Mm-hmm. Ashley, you want to speak more to that?
Well, let's roll it on.
So I'm ready to hear the motions for approval, unless there are other questions.
I would like to make a motion to approve this final draft of the 23-24 priority work areas.
Excellent. Any seconds?
A second.
Anyone against or opposed? Wonderful. So the priority work area is passed. Great work, staff. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Now we're ready for the new mayor. Okay.
Well, and just to add a little context to that, it's more than just the new mayor, it's the new council and other departments that we tend to work with quite a bit.
Yes.
So, yes, we will be setting up meetings and
Great. I'm excited for that. It should be a useful tool for you all to go into those meetings. Okay, great. So now we're going to talk about the details of language access, I suppose. And we got a little taste of that from RJ. Who wants to present on that?
is that you?
So a couple of weeks ago, we received information from Richard Ponce de Leon, who's the director and coordinator researcher at the Tennessee Language Center, letting us know that they were interested in partnering with a Metro department, specifically us as the Metro Human Relations Commission, to work on language access plans. Within Metro and how to expand that work and how to make sure that Metro is more accessible in regards to language access. And so from those conversations, we developed a work plan and we're able to just invest more time and more ask the questions that we had about what does this collaboration look like. So the grant is about $50,000 to work towards language access within Metro. It is a renewed grant every year. They receive this money. And last year, the Tennessee Language Center, according to Richard, tried to approach different Metro departments, but there wasn't much interest at that time. And so this is why they're following up this year with us. And so we've taken it upon ourselves to say yes to this collaboration, believing that ensuring that language access is a part of not only our strategic plan, but also as a much larger conversation with the Metro that's been happening as well. So if there are any questions to that, at this point of the stage where we're at in the process of our working together is basically rolling out a survey that Ashley has created to identify some of the needs, kind of like a needs assessment survey that some Metro departments might have. We've identified around 20 departments from based off of our language access report in the past, as well as our toolkits, and basically identifying what are the most face-to-face encounters that metro departments have with folks who may have language barriers. And so what are those departments? So some of those departments that have been identified include the public health department, parks, and those type of metro social services, those types of departments. And so we sent out the survey to their senior leadership, including department heads and Title VI coordinators, and have already started to receive some of those responses to the survey. So it's beautiful to see where we're at right now. And so as more and more information is collected as to which metro departments we might collaborate with, then we'll be able to keep you all up to date.
Are they required to respond to the survey?
No. Completely optional.
Okay. And you're seeing responses like interest and okay.
Yeah.
How big is the survey?
Not big.
Okay.
I just wanted to affirm the survey and hope we spread it out. I just before I came here went by the DMV to renew my tag. There were 3 sisters in there who were Latina and one who was East Indian, and there was nobody there to translate for them, and it was a mess, And so this is the DMV, which is already a mess. So then when you have to go there, and so this is important. So thank you.
Yeah, one of our goals for doing this is obviously to pump resources that for departments who are saying, yes, I want the resources to increase capacity for services that they can provide. But we do hope to work with, a variety of smaller departments, larger departments, in order to sort of put together case studies of if Metro really wants to invest in this is the type of commitment it will require, and maybe some new contracts that need to be developed through that in order to meet the need that we know is out there. And so part of RJ referenced the 20 departments that we've proactively reached out to is that we're trying to get that diverse mix of, a clerk's office, a court, a service provider, just to see it in different settings so that we can put together these case proposals.
Quick question about that too. RJ, how do we have a plan, in case something like the DMV is reluctant to engage in this work? Is there any kind of proactive way we can help them engage?
That is a good question. I would definitely lead to our ED, Davey Tucker, for that type of pressure.
Well, typically the DMV would be a state organization, and we can't really respond around Title VI unless someone brings it up or it becomes an issue. But in trying to reach out, particularly to metro departments, I think most departments know where they have problems at, and so hopefully by the voice that we're trying to give to it, that it'll help.
And as Mr. Tucker just mentioned, there is also a way that folks can file complaints through our office. So if you see that kind of stuff and folks don't know about their rights, maybe to file a complaint through us, that might be one way that we can get notified, and then I can start trying to work on that issue.
There's at least one Spanish-speaking employee that I've seen there before, but she wasn't there today. So it was a mess.
And this brings me to one of the important pieces of this collaboration also with the Tennessee Language Center is also to provide not only interpretation services, translation services of documents, but also further training for bilingual staff as well, which is a part of the collaboration.
And you spoke of resources to support the budget making process, like this information. What resources could be? Yeah, okay. Great. Are there any other questions about this process?
Yeah. So is there a mechanism through which departments can be strongly encouraged to employ bilingual staff?
I don't know about, that's hard to even answer, but I would think that as Nashville continues to try to deal with diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's one of the first things you got to do is you got to have different types of people. But we're not the hirers, so I wouldn't want to attempt to answer that.
I think, to me, I want to tie it to the work that we've done previously when it comes to inclusivics. I think one of the, main languages that we hear that's needed is Spanish, but we saw that there was like 5%, 3% representation in Latinx Hispanic employees in Metro. And so this is like part of continuing a conversation, right? And adding more information to what is the barriers, right? Some of the questions that the survey asks is what are some of the barriers to being able to provide language accessibility for your department? What do you know of any resources that there is? And so we're gathering more information to kind of continue the story that one of the conclusions that we drew upon in Inclusivics, which was there is no Latinx representation. So who's doing all this interpretation, right? If we have services, do the employees, because there's no bilingual staff, does that? And I think it's also part of a further conversation that we can have about what incentives are there for bilingual staff within Metro. Oftentimes, bilingual employees have to work 2 jobs. Not only do they have to do their own job, but they have to interpret for other folks as well. So I think it's a step towards continuing to develop these priority areas that we set and continuing the work that Ashley did with Inclusivics.
Well, let me disclose my ignorance of Title VI, but is there any enforcement mechanism for non-compliant departments?
Yes, there are enforcement mechanisms to do that, but it would have to go through the whole process to get to that. And again, HR is the responsible Metro department for hiring Metro employees.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just saying that to the extent that, the inclusivics part, was income based. This is language based, different path. And to the extent that we can demonstrate that there is an absence of bilingual staff in various departments, I think that provides a basis for somebody to make a complaint.
Well, and
not necessarily us.
Yeah. Well, and I think it wouldn't be us, but those somebodies could. But I think, as Kathy said, by us educating folk, that raises questions in the right place where hopefully conversations can start. And as we continue to build our own relationships, just by having conversations, sometimes you can begin working across departments. But that's HR's bailiwick.
Yeah.
How many times I say that? 3 times? Let's leave that right there.
Can I ask, we talked about interpretation and translation. I just want to get a better sense of translation. Like, do we know in the survey what documents are accessed the most, and if they're multilingual, the documents in themselves? And with the Tennessee Language Center, are we working to translate documents to make them available in multiple languages?
So we're sort of doing 2 projects, or we're doing this right now. These resources have come to us through this partnership. Our goal is to find departments that are ready and want them. Real simple example, they do 5 hours a week of interpretation, but they know they need 10. We've got a partnership ready right now. We're going to give you the money that you can get your 10 hours of billable services for an interpreter. So the survey that we're putting out right now, that's out, is really just to have people say, yes, I'm ready, let's work together, and we'll start doing it next month. And then what our priority project, as outlined in this report, as well as to update our 2017 comprehensive language access assessment of Metro, that is of all departments, where they ask, or we will ask, much more in-depth questions, and that will probably or it will definitely include like some community facing data collection as well. It might include, partnering with different organizations to go seek services at some of these places. And so we'll use a variety of methods to provide an assessment where we are. So we're really thankful that RJ and Richard have worked together to create this partnership so that while we are doing a study, we also have this very actionable thing right now to provide resources where they're needed.
And part of the process of collaborating with community-based organizations will also look like around language access is that there are already so many organizations in the community that have language access as their agenda item, as something that they've not only been focusing on, but working on for years. And so that is something that we're hoping to also connect with those leaders, connect with those community-based organizations, and kind of bring them together throughout the process to also discuss and hear feedback from them about the needs assessment for Metro. Yeah. That's kind of the longer vision.
So when I hear some discussions about Metro schools, I hear that we have 150, 200 different languages being spoken. Is that assessment going to include some way of evaluating priority areas as far as language assessment?
I would say the last report that we had identified what are the main languages in 2017. The report that was published already named what are some of the major languages. So yes, I think we can take the information from MNPS and we can take the information from Metro as to what languages are being most requested in order to update that. But we've seen kind of the most constant pattern, I think, with the rise of some indigenous languages from Guatemala that are coming. But mostly Spanish, Kurdish, Arabic, or just like the top three. But we're seeing, so yes, it will have an updated, what are the new languages that we're being exposed to, which will be very cool.
Okay. Great. Thank you again very much for doing this. It feels like the staff is, getting at all the things. So thank you. The next thing is the executive board election. And our nominating committee chairs are Charles and Gemma. And one is here and one is not. So I'm going to hand it over to you to present to us the process to do this today.
I think I got it right. So, and please, someone with a name like mine, John Medinati, I'm very sensitive to not butchering people's name, but I think I'm going to have a knife today. So forgive me up front. So this is the slate, and then we're going to open it up for nominations of anyone else that want to run. Did I do that right? Okay. All right. So chair is Miriam. First vice president is Charles Chager, and he's not here. We knew that he was going to be missing today. Second vice is Ben Tran. Secretary Loria. Got you. And the treasurer is on this. That's being nominated is on the way, and it's Ariel. Okay. And the last name is Safi. So that's the slate. We're going to open the floor up for someone else to nominate someone. Do you want me to go in order? Do we want to nominate someone else? Does someone else want to run for chair? Going once. Going twice. You sure you don't want to do this? Okay. She wants you to. All right. First vice chair. I said president, so you speak. So going once. No one? Twice. 3 times. Okay. second vice chair. Once, twice, 3 times, and secretary. And last, treasurer.
And I'll say, if it feels intimidating to put your name in the hat, but you are interested in leadership, you know, I would let, you know, Davey know, and you guys can talk about it a little bit, because we definitely do want to mix it up and do want people to serve. So I just want to, you know, make it where people can kind of start nudging in that direction if they want to, even if it's not today. Yes. I believe with the public comment at the end of the meeting, but you can ask your generic question then. How about that? Thank you. Okay.
So if that's, since we don't have anyone else that's putting their names in the hat or would like to nominate someone else, then we're going to close the nominations. And then we're going to vote.
And I think we just can do a motion for that slate, correct? Yeah.
That's it.
We can just do a motion to approve that slate.
So moved.
Second? Any seconds?
I second it.
Okay. Anyone against or abstaining? Excellent. So we have our new slate for 23-24 executive
Well,
committee.
You didn't get an affirmative vote.
Thank you, Dakota. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Aye. All right. So moved. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you, Donna and Charles, for doing this process. And again, if you have any questions or curiosities, we would love to have you. Okay. So great. We did all of our new business. I don't know if we want to talk about old business. I think I don't know if there's anything to update with license plate readers. It is where it is.
It is where it is.
It is where it is.
We're hoping that with the change of council and the new mayor's administration, that there'll be a open, transparent process of establishing what the rules are going to be before implementation.
And the executive committee is keeping its eye on this as well. So if there's anything we need to do about it, we will. Great. Then it is time for public comments. If you have a public comment. Yes. The phone number to the office.
Yes.
They have moved 700,000 times in the last 12 months, so I don't know. You've sent some emails and you've called, I assume.
Yeah, to the MHRC and whoever Crystal is. It's Tyrone Houston.
I will check our general email to see if we have anything from you.
Is there an office phone line, or has that been moved around?
On the website, it says like 880-3370.
I will also give you my card. My name is RJ. I'm our Title VI coordinator, so I'd be happy to receive that information from you as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming all the way out here to get some answers. We're sorry that we couldn't get through, but the team, I'm sure, will be responsive and supportive.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're sorry that you've been unable to contact us. So, RJ, would you maybe please take him out to get what his issues are, please. Thank you.
Thank you for coming again.
I have a comment and more so a question. I just want to make sure I'm within whatever framework we have to talk about some of our issues, but not that I'm plugging this, but I write for a couple of publications, and I wanted to know if the conversations around inclusivics can that be addressed through a commissioner's being able to write, share about it, especially just the topic of women in their employment in Metro.
It's a report. Yeah, it's a report you can cite, you can source, you can all day long. I mean, commissioner or not, you can be like, this report did this research and says this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've reached out to a few women that work in Metro that would like to talk about their experiences as far as getting hired, asking for a raise. You know, this was things that have been said publicly, you know, seeing it in different forums online. So I wanted to tie that in with the information that we have in the study that you've been presenting. Take it in a, take ownership of what we are doing, but also just give a connection point between those that are actually going through it and willing to speak out about it.
Yeah, and I would comment that even though we've finished our community conversations, we're still more than welcome to, or still more than happy to come to any event or any, like, if there's a radio show or if there's something. I know Ashley and Davey have both participated in news stories and radio shows talking about the data itself. So that's still more than an opportunity for anyone on the commission. If you know the inclusivics and there's a piece of inclusivics that you want to talk about, please feel free to reach out to myself or Ashley, and we can make sure if it's Davey or Ashley that they can show up to talk about the data in and of itself and how that data was gathered. I think just like you mentioned, there's so many additional stories that people are still talking about it, and it absolutely is one of the great talking points. So yes, thank you for that.
And it's exciting to hear that the report's going to get more coverage. So thank you, Jama. I see that, just a reminder, the executive board is going to meet, the executive committee is going to meet, and everyone's always welcome to that on September 22nd. It's in Parkway Tires. Again, it moves around like the staff. Also, staff, when will you stop moving around? I feel for you.
Supposedly the end of the year.
No, we move next week.
Oh, that's right.
We move
do
from the
move.
first floor to the top floor next week.
Yeah, but then we move in December
To where?
to 2nd Avenue.
And this is good?
It's supposed to be.
Is everybody else moving as much as you guys?
No.
2nd Avenue and what?
The old lift building. It's an old building that they redone for lift. It's double the square footage that we're paying now. Yes.
Like, what part of 2nd Avenue? Like,
Commerce.
oh,
Almost
okay.
directly across from that intersection right there.
Oh. Where are you going to park?
Walkability was I was going to mention. It is a very walkable location with lots of transit opportunities.
Yeah,
There's also a shuttle. Thousands of employees do it every day.
Great. Just teach us the ways. I will walk and ride from Bellevue.
I've got a comment. Canesión Americas is having a Hispanic Heritage event on Friday. Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th. So they're having a Hispanic Heritage Month award ceremony at Casa Azafran on Friday evening. And then Saturday, all day, the Colombian government is having a satellite office open as well So I'll be volunteering there for part of the day. So just a little FYI.
Yeah. Dakota, could you send that stuff towards us so we can also make sure it goes out through our social medias as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
A permanent satellite office?
No, I think it's just for the day.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Nashville's on the map. Okay.
And will you make your announcement about the
Yes.
sheet there?
Yes, so everybody should have a sheet. Yes, so these are our quarter four community events. These are our engagement events for the rest of the year. We might have some additional ones pop up here and there. Though we have something going on every month, including November. November will be our Title VI training, where as Commissioner, if you would like to come, you're more than welcome to, but that'll be more for Metro employees. But there's some type of community engagement, whether it be directly with Metro or with community partners happening. So September 20th is our Stand Against Racism event. We partner with the YWCA. It's this incredible event if you haven't been to just yet. It's going to be at Public Square Park. And this year's keynote speaker is actually Miriam. So come on down.
I think it's the 28th.
The 28th? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
Thursday the 28th, I believe.
I'll double check. But we will be tabling there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you'd like, as a commissioner, to come down and speak to other nonprofit organizations and other folks who show up about what the commission does, or even your experience or inclusivics, please feel free to come to let us know about that. The next one is Celebrate Nashville. So this is a partnership directly with Metro Nashville Parks. This is something that we've done annually, but this is a huge event. And so we'll be there from 9:30 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. It is also Davey's birthday, so just, saying.
Which means he's going to be there all day. Right?
He might do the opening ceremony, but we don't expect him to be there all day. So that's where we count on you as commissioners to come help us out. We do have 3-hour shifts, so you can come show up for about 3 hours. Table we'll be in the Global Village, helping out other tents. So you can sit there at the table, talk to folks about the MHRC, again, your experience. So if you are able to sign up for that, we would greatly appreciate that. Like I said, 3-hour shifts on that day. And it is a really fun festival. We'll be right by the stage as well. So you'll get to see all the performances, all of the amazing musical acts and everything. So you won't be bored at all if you come table with us. Any questions about
How do we sign up for that?
Let me know here or send me an email. I have a sign-up sheet over here, so I can write down your name today if you're ready to commit. Otherwise, please send me an email, kathy.carrillo@nashville.gov, or send me a text. But yes, we are hoping to have at least 2 people at the table for every 3-hour shift. So we have 9:30 to 12:30, which is perfect because then you can go grab lunch at all the amazing food places. 12 to 3 p.m., which is perfect because then you've already had lunch and then you can come hang out. And then 3 to 6 p.m., which is perfect because all of the final acts are really fun. So any shift you choose, it's going to be fun. And then we have Human Rights Day. So we just wanted to give you a heads up about Human Rights Day. It will be December 7th. We don't have a time quite yet, but it'll be in the afternoon/evening, anywhere from 5 to 6 p.m. It will be at the Church of Scientology again this year, but this is a partnership that we have with the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, as well as the TN Human Rights Association. So we do awards at this. If you've never been, it's really incredible for me to look at all of the awardees that have happened over the years. And we will be having a request for nominees. So there's 3 different categories, kind of like upcoming leader, which is like a youth or a young adult who's been leading stuff. There's the Legacy Award, which is folks who have been doing incredible community work for years. And then there's kind of like the Standing Leader Award that has a lot to do with people who are been very consistent with their work in human rights. So we'll need nominations for that. And it's across Tennessee too. So it doesn't just limit it to here in Nashville. So if you know folks who have been doing work in Memphis or Knoxville or Chattanooga, or Clarksville, please let us know. So all of that are the events that we have going on. My email is here at the bottom if you're interested in participating in any of them, or if you would like more information. But yeah, any questions, comments, concerns?
Real quick, so Kathy, I did look it up, and the Stand Against Racism is September 28th, 11:30 to 1 p.m.
Thank you.
If anybody is like me and has to put it in the calendar right now.
Thank you. Yes. September 28th. I did that last week too. I feel like I said September 20th again. All the days. Wonderful. Anybody willing to commit just yet?
Yeah, I'll definitely come over and give you a celebration.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. My sheet is right over here. So thank you for that. Yes.
All right. What do you want? A motion?
No.
You go.
I'm going back to a previous item on the agenda about license plate readers. Do we know the next date about that discussion or when that's going to, what's the next step for that so that we're prepared to think about? Do we know?
No, we're waiting to hear. It was approved, hadn't been implemented. There's issues around the rules. So what we're waiting on for more clarity is the change of administrations. And we are watching that.
And our way to, what I understand is you are talking to the people that are trying to have a voice in how it's implemented, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is everybody clear on that? Yeah, implementation.
Thank you. So two things. First, I want to commend our chair for her article in the Tennessee Holler on patrimony in the state legislature. Look out. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's great. She got a shout out from Margaret Renkel in the New York Times. It's a great piece. Secondly, I just wanted to update the commission. A number of months ago, I reported the distribution of anti-Semitic literature in the Richland Park, Richland West End area. Apparently, there has been new distributions in Sylvan Park and in Ashland City. Really not a whole lot of progress with the Metro Police or the FBI or the PBI on identifying the perpetrators. Really?
What do you mean by no progress?
Well, I think the last time around there was a ring camera photograph of a vehicle that was distributing it. Apparently, it was identified as a rental vehicle. Somebody rents a vehicle, they got to provide identification and a credit card. No information.
Could they be investigating and not telling you, or do you?
Well, I mean, this is information I got from Deborah Olshansky at the Jewish Federation. She has a pretty good relationship with them, and she's not getting any information. So, just so I'd let the commission know.
Okay, any other business? Thank you for letting us know, Erwin.
Just a reminder, Election Day is Thursday. So if you've not gone to go vote, please go vote. Thank you.
Done and done. Great. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Anybody against or opposed? All in favor? All right, the motion moves. Thank you all.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.